Hey everybody, welcome to Example of Play. This video is going to be a little addendum, just kind of add on a little from the last one in this Shadow Empire Let's Learn series. I think what I want to do is touch on a few things in this video, a couple things we haven't got to yet that I want to just round off, and then fix one thing from the last video which I kind of messed up right at the end, so I want to make sure I address that now that I fully understand it. And then I might pause on these videos for a little bit and then start a new Shadow Empire series here in a few weeks after I've played the game some more and just got some experience at it. I've hit the point in this particular campaign where I think I've shown you all the basics, everything you need to know to kind of get through the very early game, the first 20-30 turns, and be actually building your forces, expanding your network, conquering things around you. I think I've covered kind of all the basics you need to know. This is one of those games where there's no way I'm ever going to cover everything because there's just so many really in-depth, nuanced systems that I don't really understand enough to try to tell you like how to be good at the game. But I think what I want to do is kind of play the game on my own a little bit and then restart and do like just a let's play, like just playing the game for fun, trying to win, and then covering any strategy stuff along the way in that. But for this video, I'm going to hit on one more thing with logistics that I've kind of messed up right at the end, and then I should have pulled the name up, but someone came in the comments in the last video and pointed it out to me, so now I understand that. So I'm gonna show that first, and then touch on the other councils that we haven't got to yet, because I feel like that's important to understand what they all do. Because in the game, when you're selecting them, it doesn't really explain to you like what does this do exactly, what do these sliders do. So we'll just open the manual up and just go through those one by one because it'll make a lot more sense that way. And then maybe look at the tech tree a little bit since we haven't really looked at that. And probably that'll be it. So this won't be a very long video. It's kind of just a little add-on to a few more things. So let's go ahead and just walk through those real quick. Okay, so first thing is that, and oh yes, you might notice I've played a few more turns ahead just kind of for fun, seeing what would happen. And I'm winning the war down here. I declared war on Zalero down here. I did achieve my goal that I kind of set out. So if I hide the units, you can see we have captured these two locations and pushed their forces back. So the troops we built were good enough to win some fights here, especially with that high-tech tank helping us out on the flank there. But we did push down there, took those objectives, and we're winning that fight. But because I've been ignoring some of my people's concerns in building this road and not really doing anything else, now they'd gotten upset enough with me that rebels started popping up. So you can have rebels pop up, and a fairly potent force there has popped up there and one up here. And especially the problem with this one is that they cut off this road, which caused my whole front line to fall out of supply. So that's not good. So I went and corrected that, but we're kind of on a downward spiral right now, I think, of not addressing the needs, even though we had the resources, not addressing the needs of my people along the way. So that's another reason why I want to kind of start over and play the game a little bit better, just playing to win and not just to show off mechanics. The other thing, in the last video, we're talking about logistics, and right at the end, I was saying, oh, I don't need all these logistic points going to this farm here that's like taking up half my logistical network doing nothing. So I had destroyed this road, and what I didn't realize was that these buildings, they do need logistics going to them. So basically there has to be a road going there for your food, which is what this location is, my agricultural dome. For that food to make it back to the city, there needs to be a road there, which makes sense, totally makes sense, completely valid. So the special hexes on the map that you see that are already there, like the little free folk towns, the little bonus things, you don't necessarily need a road going to them. You just need to have control of that hex to get the benefit from it. But for the buildings that you build, so in this case, my guys are orange, so these orange buildings here, you do need a road going to it so that the resources there will flow back to your city. And so the way you can correct that so that you're not wasting those logistical points. So now I have, if I turn this on, kind of small, but you can see 100 is how much it needs, and it's getting about 100, versus before it was getting 500, which was half my logistical points going there and not doing anything. And the way that we can control this, which I rebuilt that road going to it, the way we control this is if we go back into the traffic signs and click here. So we're controlling how traffic flows out of our city, which is the source of all of our logistic points currently. There's something called pull points. So I I didn't quite understand what that meant before, but pull points are basically just areas in your network that are needing logistical points. So pull point, basically it's pulling logistical points. And what you can do is to stop those supplies flowing there that don't need to is you can look at the preview points here. There's a couple different ways you can do it, but if you open this up, not the current points, but the used initial preview, you'll see these purple boxes. And this is, well, if it's on preview, they're purple, but you see these boxes, and basically these are pull points. So it's saying these locations need that many points of logistics coming to them for you to get those resources. So like here, these two are on the road, so I didn't have to worry about them. But my agricultural dome, I destroyed the road going to it. So then the next turn, no food was coming to it. This number dropped to 0. So if you have that, like you've built something and you see it's not producing, it's because it needs those logistical points going to it. So since I destroyed that road, this dropped to 0. My food started going down instead of up. So that wasn't good. And so the way you know is, okay, I need 100 points going to there. You can, using the traffic signs thing here, you can try to manually control that, like how many points do I want to allow percentage-wise going to those locations. But the easier way is, like here, if nothing else needs to go there other than just to supply that point, you can come down here. This is the bottom of the city hex. Anywhere there's a road going out, you'll have these options. Over here, we don't want restrictions. We want all the points going out to our bigger network. Down here, though, we don't need too many points going because it's just that farm and it's just right there. So we can actually switch it from none. So if it's none, that means there's no restriction. If we switch it to all, now no points are going to flow in that direction, except we can come up here at the top and we can uncheck where it has pull points. I know this is a little confusing, but basically we're going to say that one, it's not applying to pull points. So basically the traffic signs don't apply to pull points coming out of here. So we could do that and say, okay, don't send any points there except what that hex needs for pull points. And that could work for even if you had like a longer row with 2 or 3 things on it, you could turn it off except for pull points. And then we need 100 points and it's pulling 100 points. I know that is a little confusing. It's not very intuitive. If you read just the basics of the logistics instructions, it's not really clear how that works. But thank you to, I should have pulled your name, but whoever it was in the comments that pointed that out. So now I understand that. So hopefully you'll understand that too. So that when you're looking here, you can see, and these other boxes are showing where we're needing those points, where they're being pulled to and being sent out to our units in the field. Right here, we're having this because this was cut off. These guys had spawned and cut the road. So this is a good example here too. It had cut the road right here. So the logistics points made it to here. 566 were being pulled here, and then more were being pulled using the operational logistics out here. This is actually a great example. We can see it perfectly. They were coming out to here and going around because these hexes were controlled, and then pushing out, and then blue they were getting less, and then red they were getting less, and then black they were getting none or very, very little. So you can see how that worked, how the operational logistics limits were getting hit because the main line was being cut off. So that's a great example right there. And then we can actually come up here, and if we switch this to preview points, we can see for the next turn, as long as we hold these hexes, it's previewing that, okay, now these points will come down here to the end. So that's actually a pretty nice little example right there. Turn all that back on. All right, hopefully that rounds out our understanding of the logistics system. I'm still learning a little as I go. I know there's still a few more nuances to it, but I think that covers most of it, how to expand it and how to manage it on a little fine tuning it as you need to. Now for the next thing, I'm just going to open the manual up because it's just going to be easier. If you've looked at the manual, you'll know it's hundreds of pages long, so there's no way I could ever cover it all in detail, but you don't necessarily need to know every detail. We've covered a big giant chunk of it in these videos, and then there are little things you can go back and pull up, like what is this, how does it work? And it's actually pretty well explained in the manual. There's just so much stuff to learn, and I don't know it all yet either. But for this video, we're going to look at the rest of the organizations. We're just going to step through them all, including the ones we've already got, just so we have it kind of all here in one place. But what do they do? What do those different sliders do? And why you might want to do some early versus saving some for later just makes sense. We'll just step through them all real quick so we have a nice understanding. So the Supreme Command Council, this is the one that you'll start the game with this. This is basically like your secretary. It's like your office running the government. Nothing fancy, and it's just the very basics. So it gives you political points and general stratagems. So the two sliders you can adjust for it are basically to get more political points or get more stratagems, but they are general. So it's going to be real random what you get out of it. And there's all these other councils that make specific stratagems so you can target more what you're looking for. Then the Military Research Council. So this one can do a couple tasks. It can discover new research, and then it can research those things. So researching new technologies is kind of a two-step process, like we've covered. And this will let you unlock new gear and things like that to equip your units with. But you'll have to discover it and then research it. And then you can see here it lists out what skill is used for each task. So like Inventor for discovering a new task, for doing the discovery task, to discover new tech, and then Science to actually research it to make it usable. The Economic Council is the first one we did in these videos because it can do several useful things. It can do discovery and research, but these are going to be like economic technology, so more on the civilian side versus military, but basically work the same. And then they can do prospecting. So this is going to help us find more sources of more resource nodes in our territory, basically. So like finding another metal mine, finding a source of oil, something like that, using this prospecting skill. And then economic policies. This is going to give us stratagems that are economy related. So basically almost all the councils will have some, well, they're either ones that do technology or ones that will give you stratagems or a few other things in between. But just watch for those that will give you more stratagems in a certain category. The Model Design Council we used before, so this is basically how we find new units. So the like technology, the gear they use is one thing, and then the model itself, like having artillery units at the beginning, you can't build new artillery units until you discover the model for it and then design the model. And then you can also, when you design it, you can choose to update something you already have or try to design a new one for a much bigger bureaucratic point investment. The Staff Council. So the Staff Council, it's very vague staff, like what staff? What are we talking about? It's talking about higher level organization and management of your military. So basically, this is how you're going to get more formation types. Like you start the game, the only formations you can build are like straight infantry, infantry with machine guns, and then mobilized infantry like in trucks. And that's pretty much it. So this is how you can discover new formation types to give you new types of multi-unit formations. You can also customize them, so you can generate customization points. And then you can spin these, you take one of those basic types and then customize it and tweak it to something that you want. And then down here is operationalize. So after you've discovered a new formation type, this is kind of like doing the research on it, then making it operationalize it so you can actually use it. And then occupation and governance is going to give you stratagems related to stabilizing zones. So this is going to be stuff like, well, pillage and race doesn't sound very stabilizing, but things like that, sort of military operations in different territories, not related to war exactly, but pacifying the population maybe, or things along those lines. And then postures is going to give you those stratagems that you can play on a military headquarters. So like once you build one of these multi-unit formations, you can get these posture stratagems. Like in my game, I only got one so far because I don't have this council yet. And that can be really useful for gearing up a particular unit to do a particular task. The Secret Service Council is going to be kind of your covert ops. So this one has several things. Active field operations. This is going to give you stratagems you can play to undermine enemy regimes. Spying operations is going to give you spy stratagems. So you get a fair amount of the basic spy stratagem even at the beginning of the game, but this is going to give you more of those more advanced ones. And then internal security is going to give you things that let you do things like investigate leaders. So covert counterintelligence stuff within your own territory. Foreign affairs, pretty straightforward. We got this one. It has major diplomacy, minor diplomacy. That's going to give you stratagems to use against either major regimes or minor. So that one's pretty straightforward. And then, of course, like it makes sense, the diplomacy skill is who you would want leading that, someone with high diplomacy score. The Applied Science Council. So this one is a little bit, this is like the more advanced technology one. You don't need this one right away because it's the early technologies don't require it. But then we'll look at the tech tree here in a second. But basically, it can discover and research certain technologies that are linear techs, and then there's some that are binary technologies that you've already mastered. Basically, these are going to be things to make you more efficient at doing certain tasks. So we'll look at that here in a second. But it follows the same formula. You got to discover it and then research it. And then our interior council is the functioning of our regime. So it's kind of a variety of stuff. Taxation lets you change tax policy and stuff like that. Tariffs lets you apply tariffs on exports and imports. That's getting a little further in the game when you got more trade type stuff going on, or more established civilizations, when you're not just trying to scratch something out of the dirt. Human resource is going to give you more stratagems for recruiting leaders, better leaders. Like you start the game, you get those ones that let you recruit like a junior leader that's terrible, or maybe like a military leader with a little bit of experience in a certain direction. This is going to give you more of those type of cards. And then interior policies is going to let you make some improvements to your zones. Could be a variety of things that you get there. Now let's switch back into the game and we'll look at the tech tree to finish things off. Okay, so now we're back in the game. We will, if this manage tab, it gives you access to a whole bunch of information here. I think we might have looked at it at one point, but you can come in here, you can see all your assets, you can see some spreadsheets. Here you can see all the models you have and get a bunch of information on them. All your leaders, and you can sort them different ways, see who's got certain skills, things like that. You can, once you have a lot of leaders, this will probably be more useful to kind of track down who you're looking for. Someone who'd be good for a particular job. This is your profile. So this is showing you, just a bunch of information again of like which way your government's leaning, and then what kind of cards you can, special stratagems and things you can get from leaning in those directions based on like those decisions when events pop up. And then we'll come back to the tech tree, but then the types, so the model types, this is kind of your tech tree for different models. So like right now, I've kept going, got infantry, so I have soldiers Mark 1 and 2, and then I have one each of truck, recon buggy, and machine gun models available. And then I've discovered the idea for artillery and motorbike infantry, but I haven't made a model yet. So I could call up my military model council and have them design me an artillery unit, design me a motorbike infantry unit, but I haven't actually done that yet. So that's why they are still just a lighter green and don't have the little ×1 there. And you can see like we could potentially get bazooka, could be discovered. It's just a little bit lighter. Light tank, APC, and these ones that are darker can't be discovered yet because we either haven't found the previous unit, or we haven't got the technology. Like, so jetpack infantry, you can get jetpack infantry, but first we need to research the technology jetpacks. So you would need to have your military research council do some discovery till they found jetpacks, then research it. Then your model design council could discover jetpack, the idea for jetpack infantry, then research it, then design a unit. So you get it. There's multiple steps to getting to a lot of this stuff. But here you can also see like what is the things way down the line, like the really advanced robotic infantry, walkers, tank destroyers, shields, ICBM launcher over here if you want to go with the nuke route. So there is a lot of really high-tech stuff down here towards this end. Of course, all these things can also be made better through finding more technologies and upgrading your units and whatnot. And then blueprints are where if you wanted to create like unit formations, you could save those in here, which we haven't got that far yet. Worry about that. But let's look at the technology tree for a minute. So you can see there are a lot of technologies, and we are still up here at the very beginning. There's early tech and basic tech. I think this actually might be a bug. This might be backwards because in the manual it's the other way around. That basic tech is the stuff you start with, and then early tech is the early technologies you research. But anyway, over here, these are all green because we've already researched. We fully researched all of these and have it. This is all the stuff we started with, very basic. And then the basic tech over here, in this box anyway, are the things that we can discover right now. So you can see, and then next to it, like the little blue EC means your economic council discovers this. The green MI, your military research is going to discover that. And there's also an air, if we had the air council. That was added later, so it's not in the manual. We missed it there. I think it's in a separate chapter at the end, kind of an addendum. But anyway, if we did have the Air Council, we could discover propeller engines to build some aircraft. Your Air Force Research Department. But basically, these are gray. We haven't yet discovered them, but it's possible to discover them. These are yellow. We've discovered them, but we haven't researched them yet. So like this one has 41, so we've put some points into it. We're at 41, but we haven't got all the way there. We haven't fully researched it yet. And then like high-speed machine gun, we can't discover it right now because there's a requisite condition that we're missing. And I believe, yeah, we have to do automatic rifle first. So we need to get automatic rifle before we can get high-speed machine gun. So basically that's how this is working up here, letting you know which things you could discover and which things you can research, or they'll turn green once you've actually finished researching them. And then down here is the much bigger research tree after that, once you get past the basics. Then down here, all these ones that have kind of the dark teal, blue-green color, these go under your Applied Science Council. So that's kind of the higher tier one that you don't need to pick that one at the very beginning, because you got to research other stuff, couple boxes worth of stuff before you even get to that. And then those are going to be like making things more efficient. So like mining techniques, you can basically keep putting points into that to make your mining technique more efficient and better. But for basically every point it goes up, it gets more expensive to keep going up. So at some point it makes sense to not keep putting points into it, because it's just not going to be worth it. But those are called linear techs, and basically you can keep researching them to higher and higher levels to get more efficient at mining, more efficient at energy production, solar energy and efficiency, stuff like that. So that's kind of what this tree looks like. And then if you hover over it, it'll tell you what you need before you can research that thing. So like here, heavy industry, apparently we can't discover it. Maybe we have to research more things up here before we can get down to it, or maybe we need a higher tier of technology before we can even get to there. But like the combat armor says we need the padded envirosuit first, which we have it up there. We just haven't finished researching it. But basically you got to research a bunch of this stuff and get higher tech before you can research these later things. But this is where you can see what you're trying to get to. Okay, so I think that covers just about everything left to mention. Yeah, so I think that hits everything I want to cover for this series, which the goal was to get through the basics of the game, get you up and off the ground. So we've covered, over the course of the series, we've covered your basic controls, UI, we've covered where your resources are coming from, how to get more resources, whether that's capturing locations on the map, constructing buildings, how you can find more resource nodes like sources of metal and things like that, how you can use the trade up here to trade for stuff that you're not able to get, how you can build new units, new formations, how to replace your units, upgrade your units, how the basic order of battle works, and how units can flow down. Like I've been fighting this war down here, so I've taken some casualties, but I've already built up a reserve of Soldier Mark II so that they'll filter down as we take casualties. But of course that won't replace if I lose like trucks, because I haven't researched or I haven't built more trucks yet, that kind of thing. We've looked at extending your logistics network, which is a big part of the game, understanding that. So at least now we understand that part, and how to get more capacity, how to extend the range, the importance of building out your roads, and then how you can use the traffic signals to kind of control that a little bit, how your stratagems work, the basics of your leaders, which I know there's a lot I didn't get into as far as like their skills and everything, but you can look in the manual and see like which skills are useful for which things. And then part of the game, though, is still a little fun discovering like what's going on with like the cults and stuff like that. I think that's more of just fun playing the game and seeing how that goes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start a new game. I'm just gonna play through and try to actually win a game, gather some more experience for myself, and then I might do like a let's play and do a little more focus on playing well and showing how to play the game through just being a little better at it versus just learning the basics. So look for that down the road, especially if you enjoy Shadow Empire. And then I'll be playing other games too as well. But thanks for watching. Be sure to hit like, subscribe. If there's anything that's part of like kind of the basics of the game that I didn't cover that you still have questions on, just put it in the comments. I'll try to answer it. And then we'll see you down the road. Thanks for watching. Bye.